it is Wednesday. Mark, you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a shit what today is. It doesn't matter. Because I actually don't want to talk about something before we even get into the entire show. Yesterday we had yet another fucking terrorist attack. I didn't say anything yesterday, like I did with Paris, not because I was uninterested, but because I'm too goddamn tired of this. I'm tired of seeing people getting attacked. I'm tired of seeing people die because of some misled bullshit religious ideology that you think will get you into heaven. Fuck you. Fuck your false god. That's all I want to say about this, okay? I'm pissed off. I'm tired of this shit. Literally, if I could afford to be Batman, I would be Batman and I would go start whipping the shit out of these punk little terrorist motherfuckers who decided to bomb people in Brussels, Belgium yesterday. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick and damn tired of it. Anyway, this is Radio Tokyo. I'm Jonathan. Nick is here. We're going to talk about Batman and Superman, Dawn of Justice. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Wait. I'm okay. Also, I'd like to say, my condolences to the Ivory Coast, who also apparently experienced a terrorist attack, today, I think. And yeah.
It hadn't even been covered in the news, like, and that's what pisses me off. It's just not Belgium. There was stuff in Russia, basically you name it, and ISIS is popping up, and uh I'm sorry to our presidential candidates in my own party who say we need to bomb them until the sound starts glowing. No, that's not gonna fucking work. You need to fight them at an ideological level. Okay? I'm sorry. These sons of bitches want you to kill them. They freely publish everything they have to say about their stupidity online. It's there, it's able to be read. I know this because I've read it. They want to be killed. So fuck them. Just like I said, fuck them. Fuck their false god, okay? I would very happily go become an ideology of my own and go start whipping their ass left and right, okay? I'm actually that pissed off. I'm actually pissed off enough that I want to become Dawn of Justice's Batman and pretend that they're Superman and punch them in the fucking face.
Or, just stop them in any way possible. It'd
Of
be
course,
nice. Uh, yeah.
of course,
But
but
yeah.
but
So,
but
well, hmm?
but you see, oddly enough, and I really hate to try and use that as a segue, but that's actually a good segue. I'm I'm angry right now. Okay, not only am I angry about that, but I'm angry about people saying, "Oh, I haven't even seen Dawn of Justice. Fuck that movie. I'm not gonna see it." The reviews are, it's like the shit you were saying to me last night. Well, Rotten Tomatoes has it at 39%. It's had about three different showings. Okay, there's maybe 150, 200 people who've seen it worldwide already, okay? They weren't allowed to say a fucking thing for 2 days about the movie. Now they can talk about it. That's why you're having such low reviews of it. There's not enough people, okay? So, now that we've gotten that out of the way, yes, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this movie, and I'm ready to talk about it for a change, and I'm actually pissed off. I'm actually angry about Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. And Nick, like, do you want to say some things about BVS? Like before I go on my rant, because I'm quite ready to just gut the fucking movie, get it over with, because I know what happens. I've seen it repeated too many times in too many reviews, like the ones that were spoiler filled. I know exactly what happens in the movie, and I'm quite ready to just pull all the strings and say, look, here's what happens. Shut the fuck up.
Well, let's see. Um, we were talking about this last night about the score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's actually down to 35% now. I will say, no matter what your reviews are, I'm sure that it will do well, very well. Just like Transformers did very, very well, even though it's a terrible movie. Even, or at least the ones out. The first one wasn't as bad, but the ones after were really, really bad. But anyways, besides all that, I Batman versus Superman is obviously going to do very well in the box office. It's obviously going to launch Justice League, whether it does as well as they hope or not. It's done deal. It's what's going to happen. However, from what I've been reading on the various reviews, pretty much every single fear that I had about this movie has come to fruition. Um, it's slow. It's anticlimactic. It's just senseless in some parts. There feels like there's no depth or meaning to parts about it. At least this is what I'm hearing from people.
In
And then
other
it
words,
has
in other
some,
words, no, in other words, Dawn of Justice is terrorism.
yeah, oh yeah, that's one of the weirdest things to me is the 9/11 metaphors that are apparently going on, and just
Well, see, that's where my anger comes in. Okay, okay. Now, let me go and get all this shit out of the way. Let me go and get all the spoilers out of the way for you, especially the crybaby children on the internet who have been saying, "But Jonathan, shut the fuck up. I'm the adult now. I'm gonna talk. Shut the fuck up, okay?" Yes, it is based off of the astoundingly good Dark Knight Returns, okay? Uh, there is no single portion of this movie that does not have about 47 cc's of Dark Knight Return just injected directly into its vein, okay? The whole fight sequence between Batman and Superman, that's what it is. The entire objective of the fight is exactly what it is, okay? You're getting Batman and Superman Orphan Fight 2016, okay? It's going to be a normal human being having to use his brains to outsmart someone who is essentially a living god, okay? That's exactly what you're going to get, okay? Now you can say, "Oh, but they're just copying the Avengers Age of Ultron." No, fuck you. They're not copying that. Age of Ultron, like we've established before, because Marvel does this all the time to DC, Age of Ultron actually copies this, okay? All comics from here on out that exist, especially DC, are going to exist upon the pedestal of awesomeness that is Dark Knight Returns, okay? Like, that is the mark to beat. Now, you may be saying, but how is that the mark to beat, possibly? Okay, it's very goddamn simple, okay? Frank Miller is a goddamn genius, okay? He is a genius. The Batman he wrote in there is 50 something years old. He is tired. He is worn out. He's been being Batman for a long time. Everyone in Gotham looks to him no longer as being a vigilante. The police are pretty much ineffective. Okay, he has done his job so well that there may still be crime, there may still be big bad guys and everything, but Gotham City is essentially safe. The problem is, and this is where it ties into the movie. The problem is that Batman simply cannot. He cannot save everything. Okay, he's realized at some point in time he's going to die. In fact, he may die fighting some 20-year-old young punk, someone who's 30 years younger than he is, and he cannot keep up anymore. Okay, now why does that matter? It matters because it humanizes Batman. Okay, uh, right now the current perfection, let me say the perfect image of what Batman is on screen is actually Christopher Nolan. Okay, because everyone's seen that, and if you haven't seen it, why the hell are you listening to the show where we're talking about the new one coming out? You haven't seen the past one. That's actually the perfection there. Okay, the way you see uh, Christian Bale's Batman broken down in Dark Knight Returns and that is pretty much what you're getting. He's old, he's beaten up, he's tired. He shouldn't be doing. He's literally too old for this shit anymore. Okay, so that's what we're getting in Ben Affleck's Batman. Okay, we're getting a upwards of 50-year-old man who has literally no business being out fighting crime. He's tired, he's worn out, and he's sick of this shit. He is sick of this shit. He's sick of realizing that he is only one person who fails miserably. That's why you see the Robin costume. That's why the ties to Suicide Squad are so important. Batman has become a failure in his own right. He can no longer protect Gotham the way that he should have been able to. Okay, that's what the Dark Knight Returns portion of this is. That's the Batman you're dealing with. This is not, the young Batman who you see, okay, for example, uh, actually, better yet, this actually has some real life comparisons here. One of the oldest people to portray Batman is actually Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is like 41, 42 years old, somewhere in there. He's actually among the younger ones. He's actually older now than I believe Adam West was when Adam West first portrayed Batman in the 60s, okay? That's old, okay? Christian Bale was actually 31, I think. 30 or 31 when he portrayed Batman in Batman Begins in 2008. Okay? This is important. Okay? That's why Ben Affleck is capable of portraying an older man, because he is an older man at this point in time. He's, getting to where he's actually near the end of his career. Like Nick and I discussed the other day, talking about Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is old. He can't quite keep up with the young punks now. Okay, that's why they killed off Han Solo. This is important. Okay, like this is the groundwork for what Batman is in Dawn of Justice. Okay, so we've got that established. He has to use his brain more than his brawn. Okay, but there is an extended sequence in here where he does train physically, and by train physically, I mean he bulks up. He adds on a bunch of muscle because he realizes he's going to need brute strength in addition to his brain. Okay, that's what you're dealing with. I like that Batman. It's a darker Batman. It's a far more realistic Batman because it's the Batman who realizes, oh shit, I might actually die. Okay? Now that that's out of the way, let's establish Superman because Superman is actually the linchpin to all of this. Superman is where the actual fuck up is in Dawn of Justice. It's not Wonder Woman. It's not Lex Luthor. It's not Doomsday. It's nothing else. It's actually Superman. And this goes back to the problems that Nick and I have discussed kind of before about why it is we have a problem with Zack Snyder's Superman. And that's because the basically, okay, 85 to 90% of Superman's interactions that make him so appealing is his interactions with Lois Lane. In fact, if you look at Lois and Clark, the series that had Dean Cain as Superman several years ago, around the time that they got married was when the show started to bomb. They started losing ratings because there was no longer that flirtatious humor of like, oh, are they going to get together? No, okay? In this, Lois Lane knows who he is. The world pretty much knows who he is, even though somehow people are able to somehow fucking forget that he was raised by a woman in Kansas. Okay, we just like that's completely ignored somehow, even though the government and other people go to her house. Whatever. Okay, people are somehow able just to forget because he puts on a pair of glasses. It's the stupidest goddamn excuse I've ever heard. Like it makes less sense when you explain it that way than it does to begin with. That all he is putting on a pair of glasses. Okay, so the reason this Superman is stupid is because we've already lost the interaction with Lois Lane. However, in Dawn of Justice, everyone said their interaction is a lot better because that romantic interest is actually there, and you do see him and Lois Lane use pet names for one another, and they do act like they're, at least interested in one another, okay? Uh, but again, that's where it falls apart. We're dealing with a superhero at this point in time who has been on Earth for 18, well, however long he was here when he crashed, probably about 15 years or so. But this is 18 months, a year and a half
It's
after.
gotta be longer. It's gotta be closer to 20 years.
Do what?
It has to be closer to 20 years. He crashed as a baby, and then, I mean, obviously he graduated high school, and then he was spent a good long while just touring the world, apparently.
Well, this
So I'd
Superman is
say,
actually fairly close, like human age wise. He's actually fairly close to Henry Cavill's real age, which is, I think, 30.
yeah. So he's been on the world for a long time.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, point being, This is a year and a half after the events of Man of Steel, okay? So what we're going to be seeing in this is a world who really has no idea how to treat him. That's why there's a giant statue in Metropolis that gets painted false god on it, okay? People are basically worshiping him. You could almost say there's a cult that has come up around Superman, and that's why there's that one scene, in several trailers where people are just reaching up to touch him. It's like he's a living god, okay? Then there are other people. The other people are the ones who are like me. Realistically, if some being was to come to Earth right now and was able to fly around and shoot lasers from his eyes, I would be saying, look, if that thing will actually speak to us, we need to have a discussion to figure out, one, why it's here, two, what the hell it wants from us, okay? In other words, Superman is actually a threat to mankind. Every time he does something good, someone else has to suffer, okay? Like the idea of, well, I'm Superman, I'm gonna go save a cat from a tree. Okay. While you're saving that cat from a tree, little Timmy is drowning in a well. Okay. He can't be everywhere at once. Okay. I'm sorry. He just can't. It's impossible. Okay.
I'm sorry, but I hate that argument. I really do.
Oh, you can hate
Like,
it all you want. You can hate it all you want to, but that's
no,
what's
no,
in
no,
the
no,
movie.
no, 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 because you can apply that to this. That's like applying that to America. Oh, we can save this one country, but we can't save this other one because we
That's
can only
right.
be in one place at once. So
That's
guess
right.
what? We're a villain. We're not the hero. We're
That's
not a
right.
hero.
That's right. That's right.
No,
that is
no, I
exact. That hang
completely
on, hang on,
disagree with
hang
that.
on.
I completely disagree.
That is exactly what Zack Snyder is giving us in the Superman. He is
And I think
fallible.
that's the stupidest. I think that's the stupidest argument that I can think
It's
of.
not. It's not. And here's why. Think back to the moment in Man of Steel where he and Zod are fighting. How does that fight end?
Where he kills him?
Yes, he snaps Zod's neck. But do you remember why?
Yeah, because he was about to kill the family.
That's right. Okay. Apparently, that same general setup happens in this. Now, the setup is with Lois, and apparently someone's about to kill Lois, and Superman snaps his fucking neck. Okay, Superman has the option to not kill people. Okay, he is just like he says to Batman, "If I wanted you dead, it would already have happened." Okay, he has the option to not kill somebody. Superman historically doesn't really go out of his way to kill people. Okay, he didn't walk up to you and straight up snap your fucking neck. He doesn't do that. Okay, Superman is
Yeah,
not ruthless.
yeah, it's one of the because I remember way back when we were talking about Man of Steel. I didn't think it was that bad, but the more I thought about it, the more I think about it, the more I go over it. Man of Steel was pretty horrible, just from the portrayal of Superman. I'm
That's right.
sorry, but it's that is not Superman. It's just not.
That's right. But see, here's the thing. That's the Superman we're getting. Okay? There is nothing else. There is no argument you can make that will turn that around. That is the Superman you're getting. The Superman who realizes he has so much power that he literally can kill someone and it doesn't affect him. He is not a human being. He may have been raised by humans. He may have been taught our values, but he is not a human being. He is not of this earth. He does not have our values. Okay? Superman is essentially like taking a wild animal and raising it on your own and instructing it, hey, this is good, this is bad. It's still a wild animal. It's still capable of killing you. And when it does, that's the animal's decision. Okay? That's not yours. You cannot control Superman. He is not beholden to our laws. He is not beholden to our customs. That's the Superman you're getting. That is as close to reality as we're ever going to get with Superman. Okay? Now, This is where the crux of the movie is. I've already discussed how Batman is starting to realize his own failures. Okay, Batman looks at Superman, and this is why there's that little interplay there between him and Clark Kent about how every time he saves a kitten, the Daily Planet writes a puff piece article about him. Like people in Metropolis love him. Okay, they love him. They would throw themselves on the ground so he could walk on them. It's like, oh my God, look, we have a hero, and he comes and saves us all the time. Ha ha. Well, other people in the world have to suffer because Superman comes and saves them. Okay, because Superman is incapable of making the decisions that he needs to be able to make. Okay, he's still like a child. It doesn't matter what uh, conversations he has with people. It doesn't matter uh, what knowledge is imparted upon him. He's still essentially a child. Okay, he is a super powered child. That's what he is. And it's goddamn terrifying when you think about him that way. That's like, for example, going back to the Zod fight. There, he doesn't, basically, he doesn't understand the idea of diplomacy. He doesn't understand the idea that you might be able to just have a conversation with somebody. Okay? That's why he snapped Zod neck. Think about it for a second. Zod was all about, look, our planet's destroyed. We want to have another one. It was your dad and the people who were responsible for locking us away. So we're going to kill everybody on this planet and make it ours. Superman didn't say, look, damn it. I understand you want to do that. But there might be another way. There might actually be another way that you could live here and work with these people and, become part of their society like I did. I lost my home too, but here I am. I've become one of them. They might be willing to help you if you help them. That would be diplomacy. Superman doesn't fucking do that. Superman just snaps Zod's neck after killing everybody else that came from Krypton. So he's killed every other person from his planet that he could have ever known. The only chance he ever had to even recreate, like in fact, they could have used Mars. No one lives on Mars. They could have terraformed Mars and had new Krypton. Look at that. There you go. Problem solved. But no, no. He kills Zod. And he kills everybody else that was on the ship. And in the process of doing that, millions of people were killed. In fact, Batman is only actually able to save a single person that was in Wayne Tower in Metropolis. One person out of thousands. Think about that for a second. There were more people who lived from the World Trade Center when planes were flown into it than make it out of Wayne Tower in Metropolis when Superman blows it up. Batman saves one person. Okay? And yes, I do happen to know who it is. Yes, it is a very important figure to the story. And that's all I'm going to say. And no, by the way, it's not the little girl, in case you're wondering. Okay? Superman's actions have consequences. That's why the Senate wants to speak to him. That's why the people of Earth want to speak to him. They want to have a conversation with him to say, look, we get that you're trying to help, but people are actually suffering every time you help us. Okay? Now, do you remember what I said about Batman and Gotham?
Uh, which part?
About how he's actually looked at as a hero no matter what he does?
Which part about Batman?
Okay, within the city of Gotham, Batman is viewed as a hero. He's no longer viewed as a vigilante. The police are actually glad to have his help. It's only outside of Gotham that you find the problem. That's why the Daily Planet is consistently printing stories calling Batman a vigilante, calling him a domestic terrorist, saying he's doing all these bad things, and all these people are getting hurt by his actions. But in Gotham, Batman is praised. Do you, do you see why I'm asking now?
Uh, Not really. Why?
Where is Super? Okay, in the movie, actually, in period, Superman is praised within the confines of Metropolis, but he's
Yeah,
questioned outside of it. Okay, Batman is
yeah,
praised within Gotham, but he's criticized from outside of Gotham. They are
yeah.
essentially the same thing. The same goddamn thing is going on here. Okay, they're criticized
Mhm.
from everywhere. They are not actually doing what they can to help. Okay, that's where the
Yeah.
story is. That's where the whole movie, like it's dependent upon this. Okay, the movie is based on these two characters realizing that they are essentially the same person, just in different bodies and with different abilities.
I I guess.
No, it's not a guess. It's a fact. They are. And the reason I'm saying this is because I've heard enough people say that. Okay, that's going to be the difficult thing for most people to understand. Now, me, being very familiar with the Dark Knight Returns storyline, I see that, okay? I see exactly why that happens because I know the ending of Dark Knight Returns. Batman essentially tries to kill himself or pretends to kill himself to get Superman to understand this is, what's going on. This is why you're a bad person to some people. This is why we had to fight. Like we had to get this shit out of our system, okay? So Superman would realize what he was doing. Because at the point in time, Superman had become a weapon of the government. Okay, Superman was killing people in wars for us, and Batman's like, no, no, you need to back away from this shit. Okay, you need to actually help. Okay, so that's what we're getting in Dawn of Justice. Okay, apparently there are three separate fights. There's the fight where they initially meet up and Superman beats Batman's ass. There is the second fight where Batman comes back where he's prepared, where yes, he does use kryptonite. He apparently he stabs him with a spear or something. I'm not exactly clear on it, but he does use a kryptonite based weapon, and he does proceed to whip the dog shit out of Superman. Um, the third fight is right around the time that Wonder Woman shows up, and they come to a conclusion because they have a realization. Just like I said, they have problems. They're number one, they're both orphans. Number two, they're raised by people who are not members of their family. Number three, they're doing what they can to help, but they've realized, oh, I can't do everything. I can't be everywhere at once. Okay? And the most important realization of all is the biggie here. They're both being played by Lex Luthor. That's why Lex Luthor is shown in this, and this is why I think Jesse Eisenberg is actually perfect for Lex Luthor in this. He is not, you know, the Donald Trump esque uh, rich boy who just doesn't like Superman in this. No, he is a conniving, vicious piece of shit individual who is using his money and influence because he's realized one, Batman is Bruce Wayne, and two, Superman is Clark Kent. So he wants to play them against one another. That's where the whole God versus man storyline comes, like that idea comes into play. Okay,
But
and yes,
I have a problem with this. Lex Luthor views himself as a hero, not as
that's
some
right.
conniving evil maniac.
That's right.
It, 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 it,
He's
this is a
going to.
very weird portrayal of Lex Luthor.
No, no, it's actually very comic accurate. If you look at the way he is in the comics, he is a sadistic, crazy man. Okay, he uses his money, he uses technology and everything to get what he fucking wants. Okay, he doesn't just have it, it, ugh. It's very hard to shake off the fact that since the late 1970s we've had the portrayals, the live action ones where you see this. Okay, the reason he creates Doomsday is because Batman and Superman will not kill one another. He realizes, hey, if they're around, I kind of can't get my way. Okay, and here's why he brings Batman into this. This is the most important reason he brings Batman into this. Um, Bruce Wayne is building up Gotham. Okay, Bruce Wayne is actually being better at being Bruce Wayne than any Bruce Wayne we've ever seen in the past, except maybe Adam West and maybe the animated series one. Okay, he's actually giving his time and his money to help with the Wayne Foundation and to raise money for people who need it. And he's actually helping to build new structures in Gotham, to try and clean up Gotham at the same time that Batman's out fighting crime. He's actually doing it, like the day and night version of the same deal. Okay, which is good. It's fantastic. It's beautiful, and I love the fact that finally they're having him do that. Uh, the reason the Metropolis gets built is because Lex Luthor has stepped in and has spent his own money to do this. Now where am I getting these crazy ideas from? You wonder. There are two movies. I believe it's for Turkish Airlines. They show this. Okay, the airline commercials actually do tie into the movie uh, a lot. Like you see Batman talking about. I'm sorry, Bruce Wayne talking about Gotham, and you from that you understand. Oh, Bruce Wayne has actually been donating some of his personal fortune to clean up Gotham. Okay. Uh, Lex Luthor is the one who narrates the one for Metropolis. Lex Luthor has been donating his money and time and everything to build up Metropolis. But here's Superman. Okay. Superman gets all of the press. Superman gets to be the one credited for doing the most work to clean up Metropolis and trying to fix the problems that are going wrong, not Lex. And that's where the reality of what Lex Luthor is comes into play. He is a petulant child. Okay, that's really the only way I can describe him. He's a petulant child, and he's tired of seeing someone else get off. Like he's jealous of Superman. Okay, and that is the consistent thing with Lex and his portrayals. In every version, he's jealous of what Superman can do.
I
So he gets tired.
I've actually gotten that vibe. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, of course, but from what I've been reading, I've gotten that vibe from Batman as well in some regards.
Uh huh.
That he's just uh, like, okay, the weirdest thing that I've been seeing from everything that I've read is that this is basically elementary school uh recess fight.
It's a pissing contest.
Yes,
It's it,
the
it, it, it,
basic,
it, it's a three-way pissing contest. What it is.
and that is by far the worst thing that I could have. At least to me, it is the last thing that I wanted to see out of this movie.
But see, here's where it gets interesting. Superman is not peeing.
Wait, what?
Like I said, it's a three-way pissing contest. Superman is not peeing.
That, that's just awkward then.
It is, and that's why the movie will be awkward. Okay. Superman does not have a dog in this fight. I mean, like it's like I can use whatever colorful metaphor I want to. The reality is that Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne hate one another because they're competing. Okay, uh, Wayne can put stuff in Metropolis, Luthor can put stuff in Gotham, and they kind of cancel one another out because they're essentially the same person on the outside. These rich people who have a lot of money to throw around. Okay, that's really what they are. But Lex
Yeah,
Luthor cannot ever become Batman because he didn't have that drive. Okay, Batman
yeah,
can't become. Well, actually, Batman could become Lex Luthor, except that he is haunted by the fact that his parents were murdered. Okay, Batman realizes he really can't do anything. Okay, that's why I said this humanizes Batman. This movie makes you understand why Batman does what he does better than just about anything else ever has. Okay, Batman is Batman because he realizes Bruce Wayne cannot do enough. Okay, he could give all the money he wants to, but he's never actually going to solve a real problem. Okay, the problem is violence, it's crime, it's everything else that's going on. Okay, so he becomes Batman to try and solve that. So in the movie, he's going to be working it both ways. Now, Lex, like I said, really would like to get some coverage, because look, here's your goddamn skyscraper. Here's you some apartments. Here's you a park. Oh, You wrote a story about a man who's not even from our planet. That's what Lex Luthor gets. Now, the reason that this whole pissing contest, whatever you want to call it, get started between them is because Batman looks at Superman and he realizes, hey, that's me. Okay? Everything that Batman thinks he is doing or has heard he's doing, he sees personified in Superman. Okay? He realizes Superman is getting all this attention. All these people outside, of Gotham love him. Sure, he has some critics, but he's pretty well appreciated, okay? But to me, he's a clown in a suit. Hint, hint. Uh, Batman can't stand Superman in this. He can't stand him because deep down inside, Batman can't stand himself. Okay, Batman's got problems with his own identity and his own problems. Basically, he's dealing with PTSD and depression and anxiety and all these other issues all rolled up into one attractive older male. Okay, uh, so Superman represents to Batman everything that Batman thinks of himself or other people think of him. Superman, on the other hand, looks at Batman and sees the same thing. Oh, a lot of people don't like him, but other people, do like him. So, wait a minute. He's branding people. He's beating them up. He's tying them up and everything. He's a vigilante, but yet he's supported. Okay, Superman looks at him and says, "Okay, kind of a bad guy." Batman looks at Superman and says, "Oh, buildings are being destroyed. Meanwhile, people just worship it. Like it's like it's the exact same character, okay? And this is something that you see in the comics a lot in the comics. Now, it's not really stressed a lot of the times, but it has been brought up numerous times over the past nearly 80 years. Okay, they see, and that is why that's why uh, they're such important members of the Justice League. Okay, that's why they're always going to be members of the Justice League, and that's why they're able to work together. Okay, Batman is a threat to Superman. Superman's a threat to Batman, and in fact, if you want to expand this, uh, Batman is actually a threat to everyone in the Justice League because he one knows who they are, and two he knows how to take them down. And he's actually been asked to leave the Justice League and then he voluntarily did, and blah blah blah. Okay, that sets up the whole movie right there. It's this sense of it's basically I'm right, you're wrong. Okay, I have the best solution, but you don't. But both of you actually have the exact same solution to the exact same problem, and neither one of these and Batman or Superman are capable of diplomacy here. They're not like that's why I mentioned that Superman couldn't do it with Zod. Neither one of them are capable of sitting down with one another and having a conversation and saying, "Look, we could probably help one another, but we're not." So there's the whole issue with the movie right there. That's what the whole
So,
movie hinges on, is that one little issue right there, is that their egos are so large that they just can't bother to work out their fucking differences that they have, which are actually next to none.
so what you're saying is they're essentially the Republican and Democratic Party.
Yes, that's actually exactly what I'm saying. They're two sides of the same coin, and they can't just be bothered, to say, look, maybe if we actually work together. So why is it that they all of a sudden become friends, you're wondering? Well, the reason they all of a sudden become friends is because Wonder Woman shows up and is like, look, you two are being dicks about this. There's problems going on. In fact, that person right there, who is now, yes, by the way, Lex Luthor does lose his hair. She's like, look, you see him right there? He created this monster, and it's going to destroy everything. you two boys need to quit playing, and this is why everyone has consistently loved Wonder Woman, because when she shows up, she pretty much tells them to shut the hell up.
which is beautiful for Wonder Woman. And this is one of the weirdest things that I've been hearing about the film, is that all of the characters are actually portrayed pretty well. I've heard some complaining about Lex Luthor, a little bit of complaining about Superman, but for the most part, no one's really criticizing the actors in this. This is basically all of the criticism is coming from the storyline, the directing, the actual movie parts. And it's one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen.
It is weird, but you see, here's the thing. I'm actually still okay. Okay, this is like knowing Han Solo was going to die. It was spoiled for me, but you know what? It didn't ruin the movie. It made it better. Okay, so me knowing that these characters are inherently fucking flawed, and that they're able to come together and realize they're able to work together and do something, is what makes me enjoy however terrible the story might actually be. Okay, now I haven't seen it. I might have a different reaction after I have seen the movie. So, I can't say. It's very likely. But I'm just tired
And
of hearing people bad mouthing the movie they haven't seen. They haven't taken a moment or a few moments to try and understand exactly why this is going to happen. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
well,
This movie.
just wait, just one thing. See, for me, this makes me really worried because they have basically confirmed everything that I was afraid of going into this movie. I was afraid that this was going to be just a pissing match and that there was no real reason for them to be fighting. I was afraid that the lack of backstory was going to make them try to rush through and put as many things in there as possible to set up for the other movies.
Okay,
Like
but
everything that I was worried about is apparently, according to the people, happening, and it makes me very very worried when I think about watching the movie.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Remember how I've said before that DC is entirely about the connectivity of their like DC has deeper stories that make you think. What I'm getting at.
No, 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 no. I've been reading all the things, and this isn't coming off as a deeper story that makes you think. This is coming off as just being damn preachy. This is coming off as some guy, uh, mainly Lex Luthor, just standing there and preaching about the relationship between gods and men. That's what I've been getting, even from the trailers, from the quotes that I've been seeing. This is not deeper meaning to me. This is just patronizing from what I've seen.
But yet I have been expounding on the depthness of these characters and how they relate just in this movie for the past 45 minutes. But there's no deeper meaning there.
Well, what deeper meaning is there? We basically just said
Okay,
that
okay,
they're
okay,
children in
okay.
an
Yes,
elementary
yes,
school
they are
having a
children.
pissing
They are
contest.
children, but you know what? I was a child once. I can understand the way a child functions. Now, here's where it's important, okay? Every character in the movie actually symbolizes something. We've discussed before how Batman's the underworld and Superman is Zeus and stuff like that, okay? They have a different meaning than that. I don't remember everything Zack Snyder said about it, but he said, for example, Aquaman, of course, represents water. Superman represents the air. The most important thing he said was that the Flash represents time. Time. Now, this is where the Justice League shows
Interesting
up.
choice. Well,
The,
I was thinking they might give Flash lightning, but go ahead.
nope, nope. The Flash is time, and this is where the Justice League shows up. Okay. Uh, every member of the Justice League, except for the Green Lantern, as it turns out, actually will show up in this, sort of. But we are not going to see the actual formation of the League itself. We're going to be getting the Trinity, which is Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. Okay, they're going to come together, and that's kind of where we're left. Okay, but we will see Aquaman. Apparently, Aquaman only has about a 30-second scene in here, and it's right around the time that they're fighting Doomsday. And apparently, he's kind of watching from the water, and then he just recedes into the darkness. Okay, but we do see him.
That's
The
a little
whole nightmare
awkward.
sequence. Do what?
That just seems awkward.
It does, but it's important. Okay, it's important. Okay. Uh, uh, what was I gonna say? There's I forgot exactly when it is that happens. But Cyborg is actually created in this. We're actually going to be seeing the creation of Cyborg now. Apparently, from some of the from kind of what's been hinted about it, Cyborg is really good with technology. Like he's aware of um all these statements about other people, including Aquaman. Like he's aware of what now. This is not something I've heard that I've been able to confirm. And when I say confirm with a spoiler, something in the storyline, I try and look for five or more people who say the same thing. Okay, I haven't found that with this, so I don't exactly know if this is true here or not. But from what I have seen, he is somehow connected to keeping track of everything that's going on somehow, and he is very gravely injured, possibly when Doomsday shows up. I'm not sure. Okay, so that's
I
where Cyborg comes
imagine
in. But but
I
what
imagine he'll have something to do with when Brainiac shows up.
I do not know, but I have seen enough people mention what Flash's purpose is in this. Uh, this is the reason. Apparently, we're not getting the TV. Okay, actually, the real reason we're not getting a TV series Flash in this, which by the way, you're correct. The reason we're not getting the TV series Flash in this is because that's actually a different universe. Ha ha! Yeah, yeah. DC multiverse reigns, baby. Yeah. Anyway, the Flash shows up in this because he's actually in the future after the Justice League has already been founded. Like the whole the treadmill thing that lets him open up portals and shit. He's pretty much using that. And the reason I said earlier that Batman has PTSD, that's important. You got to remember that shit, okay? Uh, like for example, the scenes in the trailer where you see Batman, Superman, in the desert and there's all the parademons and stuff like that. That's Batman having a consistent nightmare that shows up over it like it's just him imagining what could happen if Superman's allowed to keep going. Like what could possibly go wrong. It's his PTSD, his anxiety, and everything else fucking with his brain.
See, I have a slight problem with the apparent dream scene, or well, not problem, but a fear of the dream scenes because I'm sorry, but I hate dream sequences in movies. As a general rule, I hate dream sequences in movies. I hate time travel in movies because they are so very, very rarely done well. And so very, very, very rarely add real meaning to the story. And maybe they did this right, I don't know, but I'm very worried about those. That's just going to be like, why? Was this necessary?
But see, here's the thing. This is why it is necessary. From what I understand, Flash is pretty much coaxing Bruce Wayne's nightmares into realization, and then at some point in time, somehow I don't know exactly what the catalyst for it is, but he and Superman realize what's going on, and they have a very deep conversation about it. Okay, and they realize, that they're better off working together. It's like they finally become an adult. Flash kind of backs away from the story, and if he shows up later, Wonder Woman shows up. You have them fighting Doomsday. Apparently, the fighting against Doomsday is beautiful. And by the way, Superman does not die. Okay, Everyone who thinks he dies, he doesn't die. He lives for this. And no, they don't kill Doomsday. They just beat him into submission, which is
Wait, people
surprisingly what
thought.
happened in the comic books.
Wait. People thought Superman was going to die.
Yeah, they're like, well, if Doomsday's in here, that means he's going to die. No, just
Oh.
because Doomsday is present does not mean he's going to die. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that would make absolutely no sense.
It would be a little silly for them to kill him off this quickly, you know. But
Especially with the Justice League movie coming up.
yeah.
But, yeah.
So no, Superman's not going to die. It's going to be okay.
Go on. I mean, and this is pretty okay. Everything I'm hearing so far is pretty much that is exactly what I was worried about. I did not want Zack Snyder directing this. I'm sorry. He he's made some decent movies. I like 300. Watchmen was okay. Actually, no. This is the same problem that I had with Watchmen. Actually, Watchmen, I'm sorry, is not a good movie. It's based on a great story. It has good parts to it. It's something worth watching, but it's not a good movie. It just isn't. And as important as this movie is, that's not a good thing. I mean, seriously, Suicide Squad needs to be amazing now. Like, if what I'm hearing is true, if what I'm reading is right, and who knows, maybe I'll watch it. I'll be like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, and screw the critics, I loved it. I mean, hopefully I will be. I'm still hoping that I will be. But from what I've heard so far, Suicide Squad is going to need to be amazing to basically rescue the DC movie universe because they have put so much into this movie. So many
But
things.
see,
There's
here's the
so
beautiful
much
thing. Here's the beautiful thing. Here's the beautiful thing. Okay, look at the way Marvel is planning out their cinematic universe. You have to wait 2, 3 years sometimes to actually get the next chapter. Like, for example, the Captain America, the Civil War coming out this year. Okay, the last one came out like what 2 years ago, so you're having to wait 2 years between that. But in the meantime, you're getting all these big collaboration movies. Yay! No, if you look at the DCEU, which by the way, it's officially the DC Extended Universe. It's just not just the DCU. Um, what we're getting is next year we're getting Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad this year, Dawn of Justice this year, I said Wonder Woman next year. I forget when. Like it's pretty much going to be every year we're going to be something that
No,
builds onto this, and then like
I
2 or 3 years from
don't.
now we're getting the Justice League. Like we're going to get all the filler shit in here. Like why is Wonder Woman, you
No,
know, like for example,
no, no,
like for example, why is it that Wonder Woman,
I don't
why
have a
why is it that Wonder Woman kind of shows up randomly in this, but she's so goddamn important in the end? Why does that matter? We're gonna find out in like next year, like a year from now. That's like what
no,
where it is and what she's been doing.
no. That is bad storytelling. That is bad storytelling. I don't have a problem waiting with movies and plots to develop. I don't have a problem waiting 2 years to see the next chapter of a story. Because guess what? That means it gets more time and more attention and is able to build up better. I'm sorry, but the way DC Universe is trying to do their movie universe is basically the trickle down effect. It's trickle down economics almost. You
Oh,
start at
hang
the
on a
top
minute there, buddy. Hang
and
on a
then you
minute.
follow
Hang on a
everything
minute.
down.
Hang on a minute. Let's just think. Has there been any other franchise at all who kind of started you off in the middle and it turned out to Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this is not even comparable to
Yes, it
Star
is.
Wars.
Yes, it is.
No,
Yes, it is. Now here's
no,
why. Here's why.
no,
Here's why. We
no.
had
You're reaching.
no. Here's
You are
why.
reaching
Here's
so
why.
far.
Here's why.
No, no,
Here's
no,
why.
no, 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 no. Here's why. Because Star Wars was a trilogy. That's all it was. It was a trilogy that was told. Okay. This is supposed to birth not just one, not two, not three, not four, not something along the lines of 10 more movies. And then even more movies after that, more TV shows after that. This, you can't compare Star Wars to this. And
Yeah,
how
I
many
can.
times has Star Wars. No, 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 no. Because Star Wars. No, you know what made Star Wars great? It's the extended universe that was built afterwards that was never official. Because basically, they knew that they created something so big and so massive that they couldn't keep control of it. So basically, if they didn't like something, oh, we can just retcon it, which they just literally did with the new Star Wars movies. No, you cannot compare the DC universe to Star Wars. It makes
I
no
can,
sense,
and
and
here's
you're
why.
just
I
reaching.
can, and
You
here's
are
why.
reaching.
I can, and here's why. Now, of course, we have um, Man of Steel.
And Star Wars follows a story of what two we have two main characters in Star Wars right now. Maybe three if you want to include the villain. Sure, why not? Let's say three people. How
Okay,
many
so
people are
let
we
me
going
make
to
this
be
last point.
keeping track of?
Okay, let me make this last point here. Okay, the reason it's so important, the reason it's comparable to Star Wars, is because even though we have uh Man of Steel. Okay, now here's the thing. Man of Steel is fine. We're going to remove it and just look at Dawn of Justice. Okay, we're being plopped down in this movie in the middle of a universe which already exists. Remember, we discussed before, we have pre established characters. The newcomer to this, who has not really been observed before, and this is why it is, I think, there's some credence here to how Cyborg comes involved in this, is the idea that these individuals have shown up in the past. Okay? Like Wonder Woman, we know she's an Amazon. We know she's done this. We know she's did that. But there's apparently been sightings of her all throughout history, which, from what's understood about the movie that's coming out next year of her, that's what's going to confirm that. Now, the Flash, maybe he's from the future, maybe he's not. How do we know? We'll find out. Aquaman apparently does have has had some footage of him at some point in time taken. Okay, so we're dealing with pre-established character. I mean, goddamn, Batman in this has been being Batman for 20 years. Okay, pre-established. Into this universe walks Superman. That's why I think we got that shitty Man of Steel movie. Okay, it's like, look, Superman is all of a sudden showing up, and well, basically, you're taking the lid off of a pot of boiling awesomeness when he shows up. It's like, oh shit, a superpowered individual, haha, and that's where Suicide Squad comes in. Okay, there is a line. I believe it's Amanda Waller who says that Superman's arrival allowed all of these people to come out of the woodwork. Superman's arrival. Okay, so that means Wonder Woman shows up, Flash shows up, Aquaman shows up, Batman becomes even more important. All these other heroes and villains show up and become important because of Superman. Okay? Star Wars, when it came out in 1977, puts you directly in the middle of a pre established universe. Think about that for a second. Okay? Supposedly, this was episode 4, 4, 5, and 6. Where are the first three? Well, we know George Lucas had the backstory from them. We know these characters have got a history, and for nearly 30 years, people said, hey, we'd like to see it. And then there you go, you got it. Oh, well, it was boring. So that's when the expanded universe really started to pick up. Okay? Now, what we're getting with this is, as I said, pre-established. We know these characters have a backstory, but we're not going to find it out yet. We're going to have to wait a little bit. No one fucking knew who Darth Vader was. No one knew who Leia was. No one knew who Luke was. No one knew who Han or Chewie or anyone else in Star Wars was. We had to find out later. Okay? But they're all pre-established. They're already there. They already exist. We know they've been doing things. That's what we're getting with this. And that's why I think Zack Snyder made it this way on purpose. I think that's why he said, look, you can look at the rest of the movies I've made. I'm very faithful to the source material. Like you said with Watchmen, yes, he's very faithful to that, except for the end of it because he changed it because I, I'm not going to get into it, but I understand why he changed it. It's a lot better ending to me than a giant fucking rape monster with tentacles, okay? I'm sorry. Sorry, Japan. Sorry. Anyway, he's putting us in a pre-established universe, okay? And all of this and the universe being connected like this depended on Superman's arrival. So we got to see Superman's arrival independent because it's important. It establishes the precedence upon which the rest of the DCEU is built on. And that is Superman shows up, all this shit goes haywire, all these villains show up. Well, the heroes are a response to the villains. And if you look at the history of DC Comics, every time, like for example, just Batman by himself, Batman starts becoming Batman because all these villains show up. Okay, and of course, you know there is the fact that Batman does create problems. We'll get in that later, at some point in time. But they show up because they can, because there's something that sets them off and they show up. In this, it's Superman. And that's exactly how DC Comics got its start. That's exactly how the mythos of all their superheroes got its start. Superman was the first hero. Superman shows up. Oh, look, all these other heroes, well, they may have been around for a while, but they're not really important, but they start showing up after that. You're seeing a movie version of the history of DC Comics, and I fucking love it because it makes you think. That's why I like DC Comics. Somewhere it's like, well, how do they all connect together? For me, as a DC fan, I see how they all connect together, and the reason I'm saying that is because I'm sorry, this is not going to be the original Justice League. I actually did have high hopes this would be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter. Okay, I had high hopes it would be that, but we're not getting that. We're getting what is essentially the new 52. So that means that Green Lantern will be coming into this at some point in time. I'm okay with that. No Martian Manhunter, maybe for now. That's okay. Okay, so we're gonna get Cyborg instead. I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with that acknowledgement because, again, what we're seeing is the birth of the DCEU, just like we had the birth of DC Comics. Everything's been going on, and it's all going to pull together. It's not going to be like Marvel saying, oh, hey, we're going to make you wait a couple years. Here's this. Here's the backstory for Captain America. Here's the backstory for Iron Man. Here's the backstory for this, and this, and this. We even got to have the backstory for Star-Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'll be honest with you, that was the most boring portion of the movie for me. The whole, you were a kid and you were abducted, da, 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 I don't give a shit. I did not watch the movie for that. I don't care, okay? It's the same argument that people have made about Batman or even Spider-Man all these years. Why the fuck do we have to see them becoming the hero, okay? Zack Snyder is giving us that. We don't have to see them be the hero.
Okay.
We don't have to see the birth of the character.
Wait. Hold on. Let me explain something to you here. Number one, I completely disagree with you on storytelling and all that.
So, Nick,
literally everything.
are you going to hang on? Are you going to say? Are you going to say that you want to have a boring movie that introduces you to the birth of a character?
Yes, and I'm going to tell you why.
No, Nick.
Yeah,
look,
I'm going to tell you exactly.
Look, damn it.
Wait, I let you talk all show. No, I let you talk all show. My turn. Anyways, The reason why is because if you want these movies to be successful, if you want these movies to continue, if you want these movies to become as big as the Marvel Universe, or bigger, at least their cinematic universe, then guess what? You have to go beyond just comic fans. Because guess what? I'm not sure if you've noticed or not, but there isn't really any DC cartoons anymore on the air. Hasn't been for a while. In fact, the last thing that I remember, really, is Teen Titans and Young Justice. Guess what? Most people today have a very limited knowledge of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and so on and so forth. And the ones that you need to be watching this, the ones that you need to be expounding on this, isn't just 80s and 90s kids. You need the newer generation and people that aren't interested in comics as much. And that is what Marvel gets right. That is why Marvel is so popular. That is why Marvel is so successful. And the critics have never given Marvel movies, even the ones that I think are terrible, a truly bad score. And that matters. Not if we're talking about a private animated movie series that they wanted to make, I'm all on board with you. I do not need to see a backstory. I do not need to see the story of how they became who they became, and blah 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 blah. I don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. I don't need to see Batman's parents killed again, and all of that good stuff. But we are dealing with a different beast and a different animal here. And Marvel got it right because you need that backstory. People have not watched Superman or Batman for a long time now. I'm serious. The last thing they have is Man of Steel, which is a horrible movie as well, and Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, which was great. It was a great series, sure. But tell me, what of Wonder Woman do we have? Nothing. The Flash, we have the TV series, which has a completely different tone and different attitude to how to set this up. Um, do we have anything for Aquaman? No. Do we have anything for any of these other people? Cyborg? You want to count Teen Titans, maybe? I guess. Um, it is a complete mishandling of how to bring DC Comics to the big screen. And this is something that could be very detrimental to DC Universe. As a comic fan, you can watch these movies and be interested and entertained and have fun because you see all these little references, you see all these connections, you see all these parts that go here and here and here. You're like, oh, that's cool. And sure, I can do that too. However, when a normal person or a standard person or person that doesn't has a very casual interest in comics or just not interested in comics goes to watch this, they are going to be confused. They're going to be bored. They are not going to get the many tiny little references. You're going to wonder what the hell is going on. And that is exactly what's happening with the critics. I'm sure the fans are going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this to a good extent. However, it's a bad approach to building a cinematic universe. It's bad. You cannot just appeal to the comic fans. Deadpool was successful not because it was faithful to the source material, which it was, thank God, but because it was able to bring that to the big screen. It was able to show how Deadpool became Deadpool. And it was able to explain who the character was, how the character reacts to things, what he stands for, and blah 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 blah. Yeah, that might be a little boring if you're Deadpool. Maybe not because we've never seen it before. But if they make another Deadpool movie, um, 20, 30 years from now, they're going to have to do the same thing over again because people forget. People need to see things. People need to have them explained to a certain extent. That doesn't mean they're stupid or children or whatever else you want to call it. It's just a simple matter of logical storytelling. And it's the way that it needs to be told. And the reason all the critics are going on about this is because that's exactly what's happening. Zack Snyder made a movie that is only really understood by actual comic fans. And that's a problem. And I mean, beyond the other screw ups that he did within the movie as well, because I'm a comic fan and we both don't like Man of Steel that much. But it's a problem. It's a serious problem, and it's going to hurt the DC universe for a long time. I'm sure maybe after 3 or 4 years down the line, and they finally built some backstory for the other movies, it will be a bit better. But in the immediate future, in the very short term, they have screwed up badly. And I mean badly.
And now here I am to bring the monkey wrench into your whole theory, to find the one chink in your armor. And that would be the fact that no one gives a good goddamn about the standalone movies but the comic book fans. Now, the problem with the MCU is that you have to
That's not
watch
true.
all their
That
TV
is
shows.
not.
Yeah,
Wait, that is not true.
yes it is. Yes it is. Yes it
How
is.
well did Deadpool do?
Yes
How
it
well,
is. Now here's
no, no,
one.
no.
Here's
Look
one.
at Deadpool.
Here's
Look
one.
at
Think
Deadpool.
about the opening of Age of Ultron. Why are they in another country? Why is all of this shit going on? Oh, you want to know the answer to that? It was on a TV show. You have to watch everything in the MCU to understand because they make you do
No,
that.
I
If you
didn't
actually
need to
want
watch
to
everything in the
understand,
MCU.
you have to do that.
I did
Okay?
not.
Now,
I did not need to watch everything in the MCU
all
to
these
understand
stupid
what was going on.
references they put in there, all this references to all the metahumans and all this stupid bullshit they put in there, it's all on their TV shows. It's in their movies. It's all connected. Okay? Now, here's the problem. No one gives a shit. Okay? You and I know someone in common. In fact, his name is Aaron. And Aaron and I were talking about this one day. He asked me one day, he just calls me and he says, do you know how fucking tired I am of having to watch Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that to be able to watch this movie? I don't care. Okay?
No.
Marvel,
Guess what?
hang on. This is where Marvel has a problem. This is where Marvel's problem is, okay? You can get defensive in a second, but I'm not done pointing out the flaw here. Marvel has
I'm
this
sorry,
problem.
but there is no flaw there because I rather have not watched Agent Carter or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really, and I am fine watching Age of Ultron. Do I miss
That's
some
right,
references?
because you
Sure.
don't care. You don't care that the whole
No.
thing, you don't care that the impetus that sets up the whole reason the Avengers are in Sokovia to fucking begin with is on a TV show. I can tell you that right now and say, oh, well, I saw it in the movie. What are we doing? What are we going to do from there? Okay, all the little in-between stuff that sets everything else up is on their TV shows. And they actually want you to watch that. Because, surprise, it gives you all the backstory that you need. Now, here's the thing. You said that no one knows who Wonder Woman is. No one knows who Batman is, blah, blah, because there's no programs on TV. Fuck you. For starters, if you ask a kid, what superhero would you like to be? In fact, I know this because I've been, in my campaign thing, I have found that a lot of people like to answer silly questions. And I say, who's your favorite superhero? Do you know whose name has popped up more than anyone else? Batman. Fucking Batman.
Yeah.
Now, if you engage people in a conversation, do you know anything about Batman? Well, I know he's a rich guy who likes to fight crime. Okay. What about Superman? Yeah, Superman's awesome. Everyone says DC heroes. You ask a woman, in fact, ask a woman or anyone who's feminist or whatever. Who is the best female superhero? Wonder Woman. Why don't they say something from Why don't they say something from the Marvel universe? You say no one
Yeah,
knows about the characters, but the reality is
do you ever hear
people
Flash?
know
Do you ever
who
hear
these
Green
characters
Lantern?
are.
Do you ever hear
They
Cyborg?
don't have to
Do you
be
hear Aquaman?
they don't have to be
I'd
on
actually
TV.
laugh if I heard
No, see,
Aquaman.
everyone knows who Aquaman is because of the memes going around where Aquaman's sitting there, with stuff like soda can containers wrapped around his hands. Everyone knows who he is. People fucking know who the DC characters are because when you hear about them, even as a child, they stay with you. That's why DC is better than Marvel. Marvel, as I said a thousand times before, Marvel,
How are
as
the
I said a
children
thousand
hearing
times
about these?
before, gives you all these big flashy things, okay? Now, the standalone movies
No,
are
I'm sorry.
the
You're not making
standalone
any sense
movies,
here. Your
the
DC bias is
standalone
so
movies
blatant right
for
now.
the
It is
MCU
sad.
are
It is
significantly less
sad.
popular than their group movies. Look at the two Avengers movies. Look how well they performed versus, say, I don't know, Iron Man 3 or Iron Man 2 or Captain America.
So very
Those
successful.
movies are not very well liked because they're all
No,
this
they are
useless,
very well. No,
stupid
actually, no,
backstory. They're well
no,
liked by
no,
you and
no,
I. In fact, I've said before, my
no. They're
favorite
well liked
Marvel
by
movie
critics as
is
well. They're
Winter
well liked
Soldier.
by
Yes,
everyone.
the critics love them because they're very well made movies. But the average moviegoer is not going to go see these movies because they don't give a shit. Okay?
I'm sorry, but you're completely
That is
wrong.
why the
You are
Spider-Man movies
completely
did so
wrong.
badly.
No,
And
no, no.
even you have pointed out that the failure of the reboot of Spider-Man was that they went back and tried to show him as a teenager. No one cares. No one cares. We've
Number
seen
one,
that.
that was
We have been
Sony.
seeing that since 2001. Who cares
Yeah, but
about
that's
Uncle Ben?
Sony.
Uncle Ben's
That's
dead.
Sony.
Go eat his rice and move on already. Holy shit!
I'm sorry,
That
but
is
you
why
can't
I am
really
so
compare
excited to
them.
see Spider-Man in Captain America: Civil War because it's a pre-established Spider-Man. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is. Everyone knows. Everybody ask the most random person in the world
Yeah,
who is Spider-Man, and they'll say,
wait.
"Oh, he's the guy that dresses like a
Why do
spider
they
and
know?
flies around, flips around on webs." Well,
Why
what?
do they know who Spider-Man is?
Because everybody knows who Spider-Man is. We don't need the
No,
backstory.
because it's
We
one of the
don't need
few
it.
superhero cartoons that are still on. It's one of the
But
few
that's my
stories that
point.
they've
That's
been.
my point. That's my point. Even those don't show the creation of Spider-Man because everyone knows it by now. It's like, for example, look at Batman. We know Batman's parents were killed when he was a child. We don't need to see that happen to understand why Batman is Batman. We don't need to
Don't we
see
see that in the
Superman come
movie?
from
I
Krypton.
heard we
We
actually
don't
see
need
that
to
in the
see
movie.
all this useless, stupid
I actually
bullshit
heard.
about the
Oh,
backstory of the character.
But we actually do see Batman's parents get killed in the movie.
We get a flashback to it in Dawn of Justice. We don't see him becoming Batman, and see
Uh,
that was the thing. That was
because it's a
the huge
flashback, it's
thing.
different. Because it's a flashback, it's different.
It is, and see, here's why it's different. Look at 1989 Batman, which is arguably the best Batman movie of all time. How
Your
often?
argument is just
How
falling
often?
to pieces.
No, it's not. How often does the impetus for Batman becoming Batman come up in that movie? Once, and it's when he goes and puts flowers on the spot where his parents were killed. But you know what? You didn't have to know why he's putting the flowers there because he's Batman. Everybody knows Batman's parents are dead. They know. Two roses. Roses that are typically, they're being laid by someone wearing all black, which is a universal symbol for mourning, laying roses. Oh, people died here. We don't need the story. But you know what? That didn't even come up in Batman Returns, except for, oh, it did. Surprise, it started to come up. Now, that Batman Returns, Batman and Robin, and then Batman Forever, all those four movies are supposed to be a continual series of things. By the time you get to Batman Forever, surprise, guess what? It's all about Batman's parents. The whole movie. It's all, who gives a shit? No one cares. Show me Batman whipping the Riddler and Two-Face. I want to see that, okay? Society is pissed off at these reboots that show you the beginning of shit, okay? Look at the X-Men. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Who cares how they became mutants? Nobody. Show me them fighting, okay? Spider-Man.
You
Who
can't. No,
who
no, 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 no.
cares Spider-Man was a teenager?
No, the examples you keep using are not from the Marvel Studios, though. The examples you're using are from Fox, number one, and Sony, number two. You can't
The
compare that to
examples I'm
Disney's
using
Marvel.
are from the extent are from these characters. Okay?
No, you can't.
Everyone
You can't.
understands their origin
No,
story. Who
no.
gives a good goddamn? Okay? Okay.
Because
For example, okay, let me ask you something. Is what happened in, say, I don't know, Ezekiel 27 important to the narrative of Jesus?
I would imagine so. I can't think of it off
Actually,
the top of my
actually,
head.
better yet, is the fist fight between Abraham and God important to the narrative of Jesus?
I would imagine so.
No, it's not. You want to know why? Because Jesus shows up and he's like, look, all the other shit happened. It's cool. It's fine. You want to know about it, but listen to what I'm saying. I'm the important one here, okay? All the stuff that Christianity is built upon happens because of Jesus. I've read the book. That's how I know. That's the important thing. That's what you're supposed to pay attention to, not all that shit that happened in the past, because it's in the past. It's backstory. It's unnecessary. It has no relevance to what's going on. Zack Snyder is giving you exactly what you want. Society is
I'm not
tired
even
of
sure if it's
Zack
backstory.
Snyder is giving everyone collectively, as part of the zeitgeist, the movie that we've been asking for. We want to see all these characters pre-established. Who gives a shit where they come from? That can come later.
And
Look at
yet,
Star
and
Wars.
yet,
That's why I
and
brought
yet,
Star Wars up in
wait,
this.
wait, wait,
That's
wait, wait,
exactly why I mentioned
and look
Star
at what
Wars.
people are saying about the movie. People are not getting the movie they apparently want because it's being recepted horribly.
Because people are always going to be dicks about it. Think about it
No,
sincerely.
wait,
Think about it. No, no, seriously. Think about
me,
this.
no, wait,
Think
wait,
about
wait,
this.
wait,
Even
seriously,
you
no,
are
wait,
being
seriously,
negative
wait,
about it. Even you have
wait,
said
wait,
you're
let
tired.
me,
Even you
no,
have said that you're tired of the backstory, and that was your number one
wait a
reason.
minute, wait a
That
minute,
that was
wait a
one of
minute.
the reasons you gave, that the Tobey Maguire and then the whoever else the other kid who played Spider-Man was. Even you have said that was why they were so bad, because no one
No, I
cared,
said
and
Tobey
and because
Maguire
you
was
knew the
good.
backstory of
I said
Spider-Man
Tobey
and you
Maguire.
were bored with it. It wasn't important. So now you're
No,
getting a
I said that
so
Tobey Maguire was
now
good.
in Civil War you're getting a pre-established Spider-Man. Are you going to say, I don't like this Spider-Man, I want to know why it is he's doing this? Is that what you're going
No,
to say?
because it's
And you know
been
what?
in
You
a
can say right
movie
now you're not
before.
going to, but I know in the back of your mind, because you and I
It's
have been
been in
friends.
a
You
movie
and I have been
before.
friends for a long time now. I know in the back of your mind you're going to be looking at saying, why exactly is he on Iron Man's side? Because we've had this conversation before. We've discussed it before. You want to know why it is he's on Iron Man's side. You're questioning his backstory, even though overall it's not fucking important. It doesn't matter to the overall narrative. So, what I've said before is we're getting a pre-established universe. We're getting characters who have already existed. We know that they're there. Look, you're going to have direct mentions of them having been there. That's why the mentions of Wonder Woman and Aquaman are so important. The Flash is coming from the future to say, hey, look, this shit has to happen for everything to be okay, okay? Because if Superman and Batman actually fight one another and actually kill one another, there goes the entirety of the future. In fact, the multiverse is dependent on these two motherfuckers getting along for 5 goddamn minutes. That's where it hinges. You're literally looking at the point where the universe is about to collapse for the DCEU. It's that important. Okay? Everything else that's happened in the past doesn't matter. It's what's happening right then. If you look at it from that understanding, it's a beautiful storyline. And everyone who has said that and who's realized that's going on has had the exact same reaction that I am. They think it's kind of it's questionably delivered, but they understand the importance of it. That's why I don't think I said it in today's show, but I know I told you this last night. the harshest reviews are coming from fans of DC Comics. That's why I'm pissed off about it. That's why I do want to see it so that I can see if my own concerns are going to be validated by this movie or not. My concerns is that yes, Zack Snyder will fuck up. Okay? Like that's kind of not even a question here. My concern is that this movie will be horrible despite the fact that you have these apparently very well portrayed characters, because I understand the backstory. It's important to me that the backstory is relevant to this, but it's not relevant enough to detract me from what's going on. Okay, that's why if you look at, for example, the Christopher Nolan Batman films, that's why the later ones are a lot more liked and enjoyed. Like for example, the Dark Knight. That was why that's considered the quintessential movie out of that trilogy right there. Now, even though I personally enjoy the Dark Knight Rises better than I did Dark Knight, nothing against Heath Ledger, nothing against Aaron Eckhart or anyone else. I just happen to like the story in that one a lot better. Okay, but people like the fact that, oh, look, pre-established Batman. Ha 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 ha. Here's the Joker. Here's this. All the shit happens and Batman's being Batman. That's what we want to see. Okay? That was the argument about Batman Begins. Why do we have to have this stupid storyline where we see him being trained? No one really likes Batman Begins because it shows you this stupidity, the background of Batman. In fact, when Gotham got going,
I
that
thought
was.
Batman
In fact,
Begins was a
hang on, I'm
good
not done
movie.
yet. In fact, when Gotham took off, that was the concern. Are we going to see all this angsty bullshit Bruce Wayne goes through? Yeah, you get it in the opening minutes of the show, but it doesn't take more than about 15 minutes for it to be over with. And for 2 seasons now, Bruce Wayne has not lingered that much on the death of his parents. Sure, it gets brought up, but you know what? You see him dealing with it and reacting to what's going on, because the fact that his parents are dead doesn't change. They're dead. It's what he will become. It's the future. And that's the message of Dawn of Justice. It's Dawn of Justice. The future. A new day is rising. A new entity is coming into play here. And it's the fact that the Justice League is coming. Who gives a shit how long Aquaman's been around? Who gives a shit how long Wonder Woman or Flash or Cyborg's been around? It's the dawn of the Justice League. It sets up the single most important thing in the entirety of DC Comics. And it's doing it with the extremely popular setup of the New 52. Do you have anything else to say?
Uh, Number one, the New 52 is very. A lot of people don't like it. Number one. Number two. Um, Remember when you said that no one liked uh the individual stories? 4 has a better review score than goddamn Batman versus Superman right now. 4, both 4 movies, including the really really terrible second one. They're both right now better than Batman versus Superman.
Because they've been out for a while and they've had more reviews. Okay? You're looking at about maybe 200 people or so having seen Dawn of Justice. You cannot hinge your opinion of the movie on what is the minority, a very small minority here. You can't do
Hey,
that.
it
Has a
went down to
39% rating. Oh, how many people have seen it? How
it has
many
a 30
thousands of
wait, wait.
people have seen it
It has
to
a
give it that rating?
33%. It has a 33% rating now.
Whatever the fuck it is, it doesn't matter. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. How many of those people? How many of those people actually saw it? Okay, this is the important thing. If you want to look up something that'll actually give you a better understanding here, look at Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Not everyone has seen it. Not everyone's aware of it, but I guarantee you, everyone who's reviewed it on there has actually seen it.
Yeah.
And actually, better yet, go to the IMDb page for that, and look at the one for Kirk Cameron's Christmas movie. Okay, the majority of reviews on IMDb for Kirk Cameron's Christmas movie were from people who don't fucking like Kirk Cameron. They never saw the movie to begin with. The Room is outperforming it. A Room, which is widely hailed as being one of the stupidest pieces of shit ever put on film, ever, is better than Kirk Cameron's movie because about 1,000 people disliked it and said something negative about it on IMDb. Okay, this
Room
is what
is
we're dealing with.
incredibly
Okay,
entertaining.
the movie will actually be released tomorrow. Like I said the other day, there's going to be 2 showings here of it tomorrow. I'm not going until Friday because I have a date on Friday, and we're going to see it on Friday. Okay, the wide release for the movie will actually be on Friday. So officially, the movie is not even out. Sure, it's got some low ratings. Sure, people are questioning it, but you know what? A lot of the people that I know that are actual DC fans, that are especially Batman and Superman fans, that went into it saying Ben Affleck's going to be horrible, I'm going to hate this, they came out and loving it. They loved it. Loved it. I'm actually sick of hearing the phrase Ben Affleck is the best Batman. I'm tired of seeing that because I see it in every review because the characters are so well done. Yes, the
Yeah,
characters are well
they
done.
are.
And like we
They
said
are.
at the beginning of the show, like an
I agree
hour
with
and a
that.
half ago, the problem, in fact, we've said it every time we've discussed this, the problem is going to be the story. How do you string them all together? Guess what? How they're strung together, we're not going to find out, just like we didn't find out with fucking Star Wars.
No, I'm sorry, but that is actually the problem. That is the entire basis of my fears for the DC universe. It
Then
doesn't
cast.
make any.
Look. Okay,
No,
look.
no,
I'm gonna
no,
quote Louis
no,
Gohmert. I'm gonna quote
no,
Louis
no.
Gohmert because
Wait,
look, Nick, Nick, Nick,
I'm
Nick.
just gonna say this one. Wait, let me just say this one thing, and I'll be done because it's been a while now and it's getting late. But my entire basis of the fears was that there was no backstory, and this needs backstory because, well, there is a conflict, and in order for it to be anything more than a damn pissing match, which is apparently what it is that there needs to be some sort of meaning to them fighting. I don't need backstory of Batman becoming Batman or Superman becoming Superman, but I do need a backstory of why they decide to randomly try to kill each other. And
I've already
apparently,
told you
well,
why. Because Lex
no,
Luthor
no, no,
plays
no,
them off of one another. There's your story right
yes, I
there.
get that.
Lex Luthor decides
Wait,
to
wait, wait,
play them
wait.
off of one another. What other reasoning do
Wait,
you need?
wait. No. You, no. That is a terrible, terrible storyline. I'm sorry, number one. Number two, as we've previously said on here, it's just a goddamn pissing match. A schoolyard pissing match. And I'm sorry, but I expect more from a fight between Batman and Superman. I really do.
I don't. I don't because every time it's happened in the comics before, it's a pissing match. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. You and I are both aware of that's exactly what it is.
And that's your DC deeper meaning. That's your DC deeper meaning. A pissing match between two superheroes. Really?
No, actually, my deeper meaning, as I've explained before, is the fact that we're dealing with people. We are dealing with people who represent actual concern.
This movie is all about the fight. This is the entire basis of this movie. Now, what it means with the Dawn of Justice and everything else hinges on that fight. That's what they
And guess
set up.
what?
That's
And
what
guess
they,
what?
That's
And
what they
guess what?
established.
And guess what? Here's the ultimate point in all of this. No one gives a good goddamn about the Justice League. No one's going to care. The average fangoer is going to see this because Batman and Superman are fighting? Why are they going to fight? Why would, like, my mother doesn't keep up with this shit. And she's asked me, like, what's the point of them fighting? My brother's asked me, what's the point of them fighting? Like, why?
They
Why?
did not
Yeah,
give a point.
and do you know what? And do you know what? Those people are going to go watch the movie. Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the movie.
Yes. See, there's your
'Cause I'm a
draw.
DC fan.
But you see, there's
That's
but
fine.
you see, and this is where I'm going to quote Louis Gohmert. Don't go casting your aspersions on my asparagus. Okay? Here's why everything we've said doesn't fucking matter. People are going to go see the movie. It's Batman. It's
That's
Superman.
fine.
They're
I said
going
at
to
the
be
beginning of
fighting.
the I said that at the beginning of the show. It's going to do well box office
Yes,
wise.
it's going
It's
to do
going to
well.
sell a lot,
It's going to do
just
well
like
because it's a
Transformers
Batman
did.
movie and
No,
people
no, no,
go and
no.
see
Just
Batman.
like Transformers. Do you want another Transformers? That's my question. Because that's
I
what could
don't
end
want
up
other
happening.
Transformers because I have inherent problems with Michael Bay and the fact that he's basically in favor of pedophilia.
Well,
No,
Zack Snyder might just end up being just as bad.
but you see, here's the thing. Here's the actual genius of Michael Bay. Yes, I'm going to defend Michael Bay for about 45 seconds, okay? Because I'm sorry, he fucking deserves it. Okay, the reason is it's not that I like his movies, it's the fact that he gives you exactly what you want. You want to see attractive women showing off skin? You get that. You want to see robots fighting, giant robots that are going to be fighting? You get to see that. You want to see action? You see that. You want explosions? You get that. You want stupid, pointless dialogue, so it's a date movie? You get that. All of that shit's combined in every movie, and he just takes a rubber stamp and is like, ding, $1 million, ding, $1 million, ding, $1 million. He's not someone like James Cameron, who is currently working on making Avatar 2 and Avatar 3 and all these other pointless movies that no one gives a shit about because he's failed to understand why Avatar did so well. Okay? The reason Avatar did so well is because it came out at a point in time where people were looking for something to escape in. Okay? And what they were looking to escape in was evidently the world of Pandora with giant fuckable cat people. Okay? That's what we got. That's what the whole movie did for society. No one gives a shit. Okay? No one cares. No one cares about going back to Pandora, even though Walt Disney seems to think it's a wonderful idea. No one cares. Okay? There was no merchandising for it until after it had come out. In fact, after it was on DVD and Blu-ray, there was no merchandising at all. It didn't sell anything in toys, didn't sell anything in collectibles. It was just an escapist movie. That's all it was. And it made James Cameron rich, and he wants to make it again. Now, Zack Snyder is a fan of comics. We know this because his first foray into that was Watchmen, and that's some pretty deep shit right there. We've discussed it before. There is some deep, dark recesses of your minds that Watchmen will carry you to, even in the movie. Okay?
Wait. Actually, Zack Snyder isn't necessarily a fan of DC. He was a fan of heavy metal and Watchmen and really dark comics. He wasn't really a fan of DC.
The point being that he went with Watchmen first for a reason, and it's because of the darkness there. It's the fact that in the darkness, you're able to find. Okay, it's just okay, like we've been doing this for like an hour and 40 minutes at this point in time, but suffice to say, you actually find yourself when you go to your darkest moments, like everything that has brought you there, you realize you can shrug that shit off. That's why Batman does what Batman does, okay? Like Batman has looked at the darkness, and the darkness is what he has built himself upon. All of his success, there you go. Look at Watchmen. There's all this dark shit in there, and it's like, you know what? In the end of it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay? That's the ultimate point of Watchmen, is like, people are going to do what people are going to do. It doesn't matter. You're going to die one day. Ha ha! Live your life, okay? Okay? That's what Zack Snyder realized, and that's what he's saying in this. That's what he's saying in this. It's a beautiful message. Aha! All this shit happens, but you know what? You're gonna die anyway. And that's exactly why I happen to like uh this version of Batman. It's why it's why I actually do sort of like this version of Superman, and that's why I'm excited for the movie, because I understand all these reasons went into making this movie this big, deep, well thought out message that is prevalent in DC Comics. Okay, now we can talk about the message of DC later, but I think we're probably going to have to end right here, because if we don't, I'm going to have an aneurysm trying to get you to be an actual deep thinker and not a fucking robot.
I am a deep thinker. It's just still a terrible movie. Or supposedly a terrible movie. It looks like it's going to be a terrible movie. Anyways, Yeah. I guess that's the show for today.
It is a show for today. What else would it be? You terrorist robot, you.
I'm not a terrorist, and I'm not a robot.
You're an anti-Batman terrorist.
I'm not even anti-Batman. I like Batman.
No, you don't. You like Spider-Man.
I can like more than one hero.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man. He can do anything, but he couldn't save Gwen.
Now you're just doing low blows. Now you're just doing low blows. Are you trying to start a pissing match? Or are you trying to be Batman?
But it's true. He couldn't save Gwen.
Are
Whack!
you trying to be Batman? Do I have
Whack!
to insult your nerd hair?
Whack! Hey, wait, Nick.
Yeah.
Tell me, do you bleed?
Yes, I do.
Oh, hey, speaking of which, yes, Batman's voice is actually modulated in this, and surprise, they got the idea from Arrow.
I thought they got the idea from Batman Begins.
Nope, the reason that Christian Bale did that, um, and this is the last point I want to make before we go. The reason Christian Bale did that is because he couldn't fucking breathe in the suit. Like if you look at him, he doesn't have an opening over his nose, so that's why he has to keep his mouth open all the time. So the scenes where he's like all the time, his mouth is open and he's talking like that.
That
That's why.
explains
Okay,
a lot.
it
That
does.
really explains a lot.
It does. But you see, here's the thing. He actually hated the Batman suit initially. When he was trying out for the role, they actually put him in Val Kilmer's suit, and he's like, "It doesn't fucking fit me. I can't move. I can't turn my head. I don't like this. I hate it. Get this shit off of me." That now he didn't use that many words, but that was his reaction. He hated being in the costume. Okay, so the rest of the movie, when they put him in his own costume, he hated being in it. Like, he loved being Batman, and he really hates the idea that anyone else is taking on the role. But he hated being in the costume. Okay, and his reasoning for the voice was he realized that for a grown man or woman or whatever you want, whatever example you want to go with here, to actually dress up that way and then go do the things that Batman does, they would have to have some kind of issue. Okay, and he said that he realized that, and that he would just have to become a beast while he's in the show. So that's where the voice comes from.
That was kind of cool to learn.
It's the fact that he can't breathe, and he's pissed off, and he's angry. That's where it comes from. It's beautiful, and that's why I like it. But no, this Batman actually speaks in his normal Ben Affleck voice, but it's modulated to hide his identity, and I like that idea.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I guess it's time to say goodbye.
Yep, it is.
Alright. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Go see the movie. Tell us what you think.
Yes, go see it, and when you do that, please remember to like this video, comment on it, share it, subscribe to the channel, like us on Facebook, and tell Nick how much. I was gonna make another joke about you being a robot, but I'm not even. I don't care at this point in time because it's already established. Bye.